right, guys, it's Tim O'Connor. It's August 14th, 2020. It's 6 p.m. I am broadcasting live on Facebook and I am broadcasting live on YouTube. Guys, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's courage to continue that counts, guys. And you know, at the very least, I've got courage to continue. Interesting week in the news, guys. Where do we start? I don't even know. The government response to COVID. I'm not sure where we're going, man. They must have changed a directive to flatten the economy, and they're pleased with the progress, guys. That's the reality. The schools opening, the news is coming out about stuff like that. Guys, the likes, the shares, the comments. That's why I do this. That's why I'm running for Senate. We're trying to make a better life. We're trying to build a better future. And that's our reality, okay? So the government response to COVID, news is out, guys. 1 in 4 18 to 24-year-olds in the month of June had to consider suicide, man. I think we've got to take a real look at what's going on here. There's some issues. Andrew's in the house. All right, brother, what's going on? Robin Williams made a huge valid point on something. I was listening. Members who should have NASCAR jackets of people who sponsor them. Yeah, brother, you're absolutely right. You know that. Andrew's running for town supervisor out in Maryland. He's starting early. He's working hard. Very proud of him, and I'm proud of our friendship, bud. Keep at it, and keep the comments coming, guys. Excuse me. So let's get back to that though. 25%. As an economics guy, as being knowledgeable in statistics, I've been unafraid since day one to talk about the possible comorbidity of COVID and the government response to COVID. And I think we've got to talk about the reality of that, guys. I want questions about it. I want to have a conversation about it. It's real, man. How do we keep the economy closed? How do we keep limiting people to they can't even access their gyms? They can't, I don't know. How do we fix this, guys? All right. Something came across my Twitter feed this week, and I want to talk about it real quick. Luna, Jimmy, James down in Texas, the kid, the father's, guys, you know I'm a father's rights advocate. The reason why is father's rights are human rights. Children's rights are human rights. And the bottom line is that as a society in New York State, we are so far behind the curve that it's not even funny. Shared custody presumptive. It's got to start happening. This kid down in Texas is possibly transgendered kid, an 8-year-old. His dad saying no to transgender reassignment surgery, and his mom saying yes, and they're fighting over it in court. Now, it came across my Twitter feed that the father lost the case, and that the kid is now going to be up for gender reassignment based on a ruling from an expert. So, guys, I'm not particularly comfortable with that. I'm much more comfortable talking about how the father's rights have been trampled, okay? To even have to fight for that decision, to even not be able to put it off, to even have the court involved in that decision, that's a problem, right? That's not libertarianism. Your children are your responsibility. You have a right to parent them, and they have a right to be parented by you. Dads and moms, we can do better. Moms, if you're thinking about taking advantage of situation in family court, don't. Work it out. Do what's best for your kids. That's how me and my ex-wife did it. That's how we're doing it. Our kids are turning out okay. And I mean, look, life is tough. Things can change over time. But that's the right way to go about it. Your kids come first. Think these things through. So, guys, I got a kind of a funny one. I want to make a call to Rand Paul. I hope you guys will join me. I got his phone number right here. I want to thank him for offering upstate New York representation. So bear with me. Let's see what we get. Let's see if we get somebody on the phone. Let's have fun with this. Courts should have opinions, not decisions. Yes. And honestly, we should start, when it comes to family court, we should start with the presumption of shared custody. That's what's in our children's best interest. That's what's in humanity's best interest. Okay. Some 25 other states are actually already doing presumptive shared custody, period. When a man and a woman want to break up, fine. Okay. Your kids come first, work out that detail and get with it. So let's call Rand Paul. Let's see how this plays out. This could be funny. I don't know if we'll get him on the phone, but we'll at least leave a message thanking him for his representation. All right. So bear with me. Oh, and guys, while I'm doing this, I'm sorry that I haven't been popping off about politics. Sometimes even Senate candidates have to make a living somehow. Excuse me. Yes, Jason Lawless, thank you for joining me tonight, brother. All right. Can you guys hear that? All right. Hey, my name is Tim O'Connor. I am running for Senate in Upstate New York, Senate District 51, and I'm calling to thank Rand Paul for bringing up the issue about the nursing home deaths. We are getting, I'd say, zero representation, maybe slightly more than zero representation from our current elected crop of officials. They seem to act like an extension of the bureaucracy. So we, my friends, the people that may vote for me, the people that are helping me run my campaign, wanted to say thank you for bringing up an issue that we think is important. My number is 607-435. Yeah. All right. So I muted that. I didn't want you guys to get my phone number. It's actually on my website. If you actually really want to call me, you can, which is fine. And Shelly, thank you for being you. Our messaging, our talking, our discussing. Guys, these are the things that motivate me. Okay, the likes, the shares, the comments here. It means I'm having some sort of impact, and that the notion that we can share this and grow this and talk to more people and sell liberty and come up with real things, real solutions is why I'm doing it. And guys, I can't win this race, man. Like it's impossible. We're running against two entrenched political machines. They're going to do their best to not tear each other up and ignore me in the process, which is fine, guys. I expect it, man. Family court is abuse of children. I agree. There has to be a non-adversarial way to approach parenting. There should not. It should start non-adversarially, guys. And I understand there's situations, there's exceptions, there's problems, there's realities, guys, that we've got to face. Okay, but I just well, Rand Paul got to hear all that too. Yeah, so get back to family court. Yeah, there's got to be a less adversarial process, guys. We've got to do better by our kids. We've got to do better by our families. We've got to do better by our communities, guys. That we can even talk about perjury isn't a crime anymore. We can get upset. You could pretend like, oh, that guy should be prosecuted for perjury. Nobody gets prosecuted for perjury. And when it comes to family court, less than nobody gets prosecuted for perjury. As a matter of fact, if you accuse perjury in family court, they take a hard look at who you are and like they automatically get squirrely, like you're a bad guy. Yeah. He looked a little giddy. Yeah. Who are you gonna call? Call TMO, guys. I do. I got answers. I got solutions, but I need support, man. It's important. And guys, the support, guys. That's the thing. It's like doesn't have to be money, but money helps. And I'll post my link to my donation page, and I'm getting donations, guys. It's not huge, it's not great. I'm not crafting platitudes that like a car company is going to be like, oh God, we need to hire that guy. An insurance company's not going to come to me and be like, dude, what we want to do is fill your campaign coffers for you from now until forever. Like that's not going to happen because I'm a libertarian, right? I literally want to shrink government. I'm not even joking. The regulations that these guys buy from our politicians are insane. You know why I'm knowledgeable about rural issues, Shelly? And thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. I grown up in central New York. I went to college at SUNY Binghamton. I lived in Syracuse. My entire adult life, I'm 53 years old, been spent in upstate New York. I was throwing hay bales when I was a kid. Like, that's a real thing. I lived on a farm for 5 years, okay? Did the hard work of making milk and selling it and trying to learn about how to, milk a cow and how to shovel cow poop and how to build a addition on a barn out of an old silo. Guys, I literally did it, man. I mean, I spent days in the hot sun, 90-degree weather, days like today, straightening out nails, making sure they didn't hit the ground so that the cows didn't get injured. I'm not even kidding. We'd be handing each other boards from a makeshift jury rig scaffolding that was probably like, if OSHA saw it, oh my God, man. Even though it was like a family operation, if OSHA saw that scaffolding, they would have done something, man. It was dangerous. But anyways, so what we did was we built an addition out of an old silo, and then we had room for 10 more cows. It was pretty cool. It was, and resourcefulness, guys. That's the other thing, man. I lived the life of resourcefulness. I have a backhoe that's from 1974, man. The thing still runs. I freaking all right, I've been using it the last couple of days. It's hilarious. The thing still runs. It starts right up, and I fix it all the time. It breaks all the time. We are a heavy medicated society. Sometimes just too much. Yes, and I was thinking about that today, Paul. That was funny. I remember I was so wound up. You got me started. You got me thinking about this possibility. And brother, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you. I'll donate. Our RC Cola owes me some money as far as I'm concerned, brother. I have done more for RC Cola sales than any two people. Shelly, also, guys, check this out. I want to show you guys something. My friend, Dr. Mark Brayman, not Dr. Mark Barretto. You guys met Dr. Mark Barretto through me, and he's a fantastic guy. That's a different situation. Dr. Mark Brayman, a libertarian, Monroe County, Madison County, up near Cazenovia, whichever the one that is. I know he's not in Senate District 51, so he's irrelevant. But anyways, he made these great masks. I'm going to mail one to Shelly. I mailed some to my cousin because she's a libertarian and she's growing in libertarianism. She believes it's real. And guys, these are free. If you can make a donation, that's fine. If you want one or two, I don't have a million, I don't have a million of them, but I will just pop them in the mail to you guys straight up. And Shelly, yours is on the way tomorrow morning. So if anybody else wants one, let me know. Straight in nails been there. Yeah. Guys, resources are tight on a farm, man. Even leaving for 2 hours to go get supplies sometimes is a challenge. And that's, these guys are businessmen. They're entrepreneurs. And what we've done in pretending to prop them up is just make their lives wicked, wicked difficult. And what we need to do is open up the floodgates. They need to be able to grow hemp. They need to be able to grow marijuana. And they need to be able to grow practically regulation free because they are a part of our community. They need to make money. And ways that you can, guys, and you've heard me talk about this at length, guys, the ways that we can support our local farmers, buy stuff from them. A lot of people are raising beef. The beef situation is incredible, though, right? We are importing beef from places like Africa and Indonesia because somehow putting cows on a boat and shipping them here and freezing them and then running them through our 4 processing plants is more profitable than buying it from your neighbor. I don't understand that. And the solutions to so far, even Thomas Massey, who I kind of like, he's kind of funny. He likes my tweets on the Twitter world. His Prime Act is great. We should at least be able to have labels on our food in the store that tells us where our beef has come from. But guys, the real solution is simpler than that. As you look around, your neighbors in rural upstate New York especially are selling beef, okay? You could buy parts of cows. Some of them have other ways where they actually cut it up and you can order your specific cut. You got to plan a little bit ahead, but you can fill your freezer and it's food security. And I've talked about it about 1 million times. I bet I would have. And guys, I'm a contractor. I've built some shoddy scaffolding. I've worked on some shoddy scaffolding, but nothing compares to the old farm scaffolding. I'll tell you what, man. We just took old silo staves and nailed them up and we're 12 foot up in the air, 14 foot up in the air, ripping down a silo that was 30 foot tall. Epic times, man. Me and my brother Pat, who occasionally joins the show. I think that what we have, what Larry Sharp, what the Libertarian Coalition, what we offer, guys, is a conversation about the news. And I think that's important because what we see now every day is it's not a conversation, guys. What they're doing is reaching into your brain, trying to stimulate your id and make you freak out. So you click their stupid links and go to their stupid pages. And like they get a little bit of money off their ad revenue. The more people they get to attack those links, and the more people that they get to watch their TV shows. And so, guys, they do it on purpose. It's a manipulation. It's like causing PTSD. It's like causing a little bit of Munchausen syndrome. It's causing other mental problems. And so people are fighting because of the way that the news is presented, the editorializing of the news. And that, guys, I think that's a problem. You do. All right. I got it. Mine's a Ford 550, 1974. It's awesome. Some guy tried to buy it from me today. It was hilarious. I'm like, well, I'm using it right now, so it's worth a lot of money. I'm like, get at me when I don't want it anymore, and it'll be worth next to nothing. RC Cola. That's right, man. Coke versus Pepsi. Tommy, you're old enough to remember the Cola Wars back in, I gotta think it was the 90s, man. Coke versus Pepsi. That's bipartisanship, guys. That's what bipartisanship is. They pretend to fight while they grow their power. Libertarian Party is the RC Cola, brother. It is by far the best. Some people want it to be Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is not the cola of the third party. It's just not. Yeah. Oh, you have a twin? That's awesome. Yeah, I was at the age where that's when my muscles were growing, testosterone was starting to raise, so we could rip around the bales pretty good. It does. It's actually kind of mellower, kind of milder. It's better. I was saying that I stopped by every news report on the duopoly and demand coverage for all. And Shelley, you're active. What is it? Proactive approach to helping us with what we are trying to do. Queter appreciates it. I appreciate it. Larry appreciates it. I mean, those guys, we know we're running tough to win races. That's the bottom line. And people like Shelley, people like Ryan. I mean, I don't have them in bandanas, Campy, but I don't know. I like the way they look. And guys, I wear a mask when I got to go into a store. I don't want any micro businesses getting fined $1,000. That's craziness. All day spin on MSM. Yeah, the news cycle, the 24-hour news cycle has forced people into Munchausen syndrome. That's correct. You're taking it to a local butcher. Your local butcher checks out the health of the animal before he butchers it. It's a good system. We have a good system. All we got to do is kind of keep it together, man. Oh, guys, I got a funny little story. I'm going to work today. Not work. I'm fixing a piece of property, whatever you want to call it. And a guy on a bike riding down the road, he stops, jumps off. He starts waving at me, man. And I'm like, what in the world does this guy want? And all of a sudden, like 4 deer run across the road. I slowed down because I thought maybe he was having a real problem. That's how I know we're going to be okay. That kind of behavior right there. The guy stops, jumps off his bike, warns me about approaching herd of deer just because he didn't have to. He just saw a disaster coming. And so he took the time and he waved to a few other cars. Guys, that's part of human nature. We talk about what human nature is. And when we look at power hungry politicians, their human nature is different. Our everyday neighbors, our human beings that we're trying to reach. That's the human nature that will carry us through. What's up with the title of the video? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Which one? Maybe I said something and I lost track. I apologize, John. But thank you for being here, brother. Yeah, we used to get to drive one of our old beater cars to the barn. It was about a half-mile away. Me and my brother are epic drivers. Epic. We learned to drive awesomely. All right, so I covered fathers' rights, guys, and I will cover that again and again and again. New York State is doing fathers' rights wrong, okay? And jailing guys for being in monetary deficit when we're doing bail reform can't happen, guys. Can't happen. It's got to stop. We've got to do better. We're driving people away. You would be crazy to raise a child in New York State, because if you get into a custody battle, you get into that custody war, everybody loses. Everybody. And lawyers get rich off of it, man. They get rich off of it. My friend Robert Griebslin was telling me it's one of the largest monetary revenue sources for the legal profession, family court. You believe it? I believe it. Kamala Harris. Guys, I don't hate Trump, but I don't. And honestly, he does some things that I just like. I get blown away. They crack me up. His executive orders about the prescription drugs, his now brokering a peace deal in the Middle East, his extending the pandemic coverage executive order. I hate executive orders. I hate them. But here we are. What if he didn't do it, man? These guys just went on vacation. How can anything that they're saying, these legislators, be as important as they're saying it is, and then they just go on vacation? Excuse me, guys. I believe that. I know that they do, but I think the presumption of shared custody and the possibility of actually being charged with perjury, those two things could actually make a difference in how family custody cases proceed. And it would incentivize not starting at the fight. It would incentivize, let's let our relationship dissolve and let's take care of our children. It would incentivize that. And I believe that. Guys, who wants to talk about Kamala Harris? Dude, she called Joe Biden a racist and all sorts of names and believed his accusers, and now she's his vice president. Guys, so I was talking about Trump and how he's funny, and I don't know, he embarrasses me sometimes. I'm definitely not voting for him. I'm voting for Joe Jorgensen. But if I was to pick the way they rank, it would be Joe Jorgensen number one, Trump number two, and it's close because Trump does some funny things and makes executive orders that benefit the people, and they operate outside of the mainstream understanding of politics. Why couldn't we buy drugs from Canada 20 years ago? You know why. You know why, okay? Because Big Pharma fills the campaign coffers of our elected legislators. It's an absolute fact. Driving awesome because you worked on a farm, or is that? Yeah, we drive awesome because guys, no one cared if we broke the car. If we broke the car, we'd have to walk to the barn. So we didn't really think that part through. You follow what I'm saying? So, I mean, there were tricks and stunts and stuff you could do with a car that no one cares about. Robert Griebslin is the man. Did you see him get injured? He's got a big ankle break. He's a great guy, man. It's a rural thing. You know it, man. I may have been the guy that would take my kids driving on back roads occasionally. Maybe. So, guys, you want to see evidence of what I'm talking about Munchausen syndrome? On Twitter, Alyssa Milano posted a video of her brushing her hair. And Alyssa Milano is now sure that she has long COVID, not just COVID, okay? She has long COVID. And one of the symptoms of long COVID is that your hair falls out. So Alyssa Milano, and man, I don't feel bad about taking a shot at her. There's something up with it, okay? There's something up with that. 1.8 million views, all right? So probably 2/3 of them are people that are sympathetic. So 1.2 million views of people watching her brush her hair and having her talk about long COVID and how her hair falling out, and she's got to be heading towards menopause, 45, 50 years old. Her hair falling out is evidence that she has long COVID. And guys, people believe that, they call that evidence. And then when we see a study of 570-year-olds who get HCQ within the first few days of diagnosis with COVID, None of them died. None of them had to be intubated. None of them even had to be hospitalized. Okay, it's not anecdotal evidence. Don't let anybody tell you that it's anecdotal evidence. It's not proof, okay? But it's evidence that HCQ does its job, does the job that, because 40% of all of our medicines are not proven to work for the diseases that they're prescribed for. All right. And I make up numbers. I read an article. I think it's 40%. Give me a percentage or two. Okay. What that means is, okay, this has worked for this disease in the past, or the symptoms of this disease is similar to the symptoms of that disease. So the SARS-CoV from 2005 and the SARS-CoV from 2020 have similar ways that they attack the body. It was accepted use for HCQ to treat the SARS-CoV from 2005. And that's what the American frontline doctors were trying to explain to people. And we freaked out and we got offended by somebody's religion. And I don't know, it was embarrassing, man. We can do better than that. Yeah, just give it gas. I love that. Oh, guys, if you do see my wife, can you tell her refill the ice cube trays, because I like ice and she likes ice, but she does not like to refill the ice cube trays. I don't understand it. Doesn't make any sense. I'm the only guy in the house that refills ice cube trays. Yeah, field car. We had a field car. Yeah, it was 72. We had 72. We had a 69, 70 Hornet. That was a field car, and a Buick. I want to say LeSabre or something, but an old one. It was not like a nice one. It was basically stripped out. And yeah, when they broke, we fix it. That's upstate New York, Shelly, right? That's upstate New York. Send it. Just give it gas, Campy. You were there. Whoa. I do not endorse that statement, though it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. She stresses herself out. She places herself up against Joe Rogan. I want her and Joe Rogan to do a hairbrush off. Oh, Joe Rogan doesn't have hair. All right. Yeah, that Buick that we had a monster engine. I think it was a 350, dude. No muffler, man. The muffler was gone. It was just amazing. Yeah. Anecdotal evidence is evidence. You're right, Shelley. And as you accumulate anecdotes, you accumulate empirical evidence, right? So sometimes double-blind studies and the sophistry associated with proving that a medicine works. Okay, that's how people are saying. I shouldn't read the comments. Sorry. That's how people are saying it isn't proof what I'm offering. Okay, it isn't proof what Dr. Sheila said. Okay, it isn't proof what the Yale professor said, but an accumulation of anecdotal evidence and an accumulation of statistical anomalies or abnormalities does become evidence. Okay, and again, it's not technically proof, but we go back to 40% roughly of all medicines prescribed are not proven to work for the disease that they're prescribed for. It's suggested that they work. All right, so this is what made me laugh. I didn't say anything about COVID, that I had COVID. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I've only had it like 6 times in the last year, so don't worry about it. It's a joke. It's a joke. So, guys, what do we want to talk about? Kamala Harris some more? Guys, by the way, this is pretty funny. Let me go over Andrews. I'd rather elect a libertarian to the presidency or any elected office than a Democrat or Republican to preserve our freedom and constitutional rights, so that we, the United States of America, can have a happy life in the pursuit of happiness. Yes. Excuse me, guys. Yes, Andrew, you're correct. It would be better. We could, in fact, start breaking those guys apart. We could start, in fact, seeing that there's people that love the state. And I don't know, some people saw my post earlier. That's how I respond to these people that are demanding the state do this, the state do that. And one of these days, guys, I'm going to read you the NISUT, and it's going to be boring. That's why I haven't done it yet. I was going to read you the NISUT questionnaire to get the endorsement. And guys, if any of you guys want it, like my Senate page, ask me for it and give me your email address, and I'll email it to you. You can read what the requirements to receive the endorsement is from New York State United Teachers Union. The problem is, guys, every single thing that they ask for is big government, tax on billionaires, tax on this, tax on that, big school, big government, answer to the state, one size fits all, prescriptive stuff. And they can't understand, I guess they don't understand why things are failing. Explain virtue. Yeah, guys. All right. Virtue signaling, gatekeeping. Hey, virtue signaling, guys. All right. How do you explain it? When you demand the state, okay, somebody sent the particular thing that I was responding to. Somebody sent me a questionnaire to see if I wanted to encourage the government to write laws to protect animals. Okay, which is fine. That can be your personal position, and you can take whatever actions you want to help protect animals. But when you demand that the state writes laws to enhance your virtue and point a gun at me because I don't want to participate in what you want, that's virtue signaling. Yeah, that's virtue signaling. Also, like Alyssa Milano constantly virtue signals. She bugs me. The goal of how do we say it in this day and age? I got to be careful. You know, virtue signaling when you see it. And the bottom line is it's like my virtue is better than yours. And I care so much about that I want the government to write laws to protect other people from it. And I'll feel better if those laws are written. That's at the very least virtue signaling. And I'm not hitting it as well as I would like to. I think if we caught it on another night and I had thought about it more, I would give you a much better answer, Ryan Bedford. Why do you think Democrats of the progressive variety are sticking with Biden and Harris, knowing full well? You know, brother, as a libertarian, guys, and thank you for that question, because that question is absolutely important. Joe Biden wrote laws that destroyed Black communities, period. Tough on crime, tough on enforcement. And Kamala Harris proved her worth as a prosecutor by enforcing those laws to the best of her ability, to the point where she would reject evidence that someone was perhaps innocent. She was a tough prosecutor. The win, these people are so aggressive. The win is what becomes so important to them. And guys, there's no doubt, guys, when libertarians talk, there is no doubt racism exists, that systemic racism exists, and that it is enforced in places like upstate New York. We have a hard time understanding it sometimes. My friends, the people that I care about, my conservatarians, the guys that are coming to liberty slowly but surely, okay, they have a hard time understanding it because we don't see structural racism here, not to the way they see it in densely populated urban areas. We don't. And that's better. Okay, that's better for us. That's better for our friends. That's better for people that live here. Our friends that live here that maybe have more pigment in their skin. All right. This is a better life for you guys because we'll run across the bigotry and we'll fight that bigotry. We'll talk to the people. We'll try to straighten it out. We'll try to help you. We don't like bigotry here. Okay. But structural systemic racism exists. It exists through gentrification. It exists through bribery. It exists through coercion and economic bigotry. Okay. And so it's not just aimed at people of a certain skin color pigment, but it's also aimed at people that are poor. And so what they do is they bribe them, they lie to them, and they offer them platitudes and small amounts of money. And as they devalue the currency, no wonder people are going crazy in these places. Not even kidding. They don't allow, surveys that don't allow for a correct response. Yeah. And some surveys actually want to force you into the response that they want. Like I got called from a Marist College poll once, and I want to say it was for Hillary Clinton. And the questions were like, do you think Hillary's common sense solution to the deficit is the best way to handle the government? It's like, well, it's a common sense solution. Of course. Why wouldn't I agree with Hillary? And then I'm like, guys, I'm not answering these questions. I know what you're doing. This is a push poll. Stockholm syndrome, guys, it's everywhere. That's part of what the whole Democrat authoritarian regime offers us. Stockholm syndrome. Love your oppressors because they're telling you they're doing it for a good cause and they're under siege and they need your help and they don't want to kill you, but they might have to. Okay. Like that's Stockholm syndrome. And It's a real thing. I literally had somebody try to tell me that Stockholm syndrome wasn't real today, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? It exists in relationships. It exists in our relationship to the government. It's a real thing. Live the NAP, brother. The end justifies the means. No, live the NAP. That's right. Non-aggressive. Don't steal my stuff. Don't hurt people, and do your best to help out your friends, man, because that's how we get things done. Shelly, you're impressive in a lot of ways. I, as a woman, people try to virtue signal for me. Yes, the Democratic Party, perhaps, maybe I'm pointing too much at them tonight, and I feel bad. But you know, this virtue signaling, they want to write laws to protect you from everything, and it's like equal protection under the law is equal protection under the law. I agree. Or polls with only two options. Yeah, like like all the popularity polls about the presidential candidates. Blue no matter who. And that's a legitimate slogan, right? That actually came from the Democratic Party. How in the world can we get there? How do we live that life? Interesting story, guys. I gotta get it out before I forget about it. Rural cable access. It's a big deal. It's already been negotiated for. It's already supposedly legislated into law. It's supposed to be Spectrum and other companies are supposed to be providing rural access to the internet. A friend of mine called me, a guy that used to work for me. He's got a pod of like 18 people that would sign up for cable. So I was on a radio show. Spectrum won't run the lines because they don't deem it as profitable for them. Now we're looking at the schools not being open for a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And these kids need some online learning access. They don't have it because they don't have internet access. Now, internet access, as far as I understand, it's already legislated. They've already granted rights, and they've already granted, I believe they're charging taxes already too, to provide the people that are providing the internet service with money. So I was on a radio show with my buddy Kevin Wilson out of the Rochester area. And let me give you the names, the name of the WYSL, WACK, and WENY. And guys, we actually got a call in on it was Andrew Hauser, Kevin Wilson's show, Radio Free New York. And so we were on those 3 radio stations, and there's a podcast, and I have it linked on my Facebook page. Okay. So guys, I was talking about the fact that this whole rural broadband has already been legislated. It's already been agreed to. Cuomo threatened to pull Spectrum's license because they weren't meeting their targets. So this guy's got, within a mile and a half of his house, he's got a fiber optic line running through the area, and they just need to run it like 2 or 3 more miles, and these guys can have internet access. And so I was talking about the problems with that and what are possible solutions. And if any of you guys have solutions, I have a couple ideas that I want to throw at him. But how can he get access, beam it up to his house, and then beam it to the other kids? There's like 6-8 kids that need internet access to go to school from September through the end of October at the very least right now because of the government response to COVID. As you know, I'm not a big fan. So anyways, so how does he solve that problem? He's been calling his senator. He's been calling Spectrum. He called the REA, Development Authority. And so Spectrum won't provide it. REA is like, well, we would provide it, but we can't go work in that area because it's licensed out to Spectrum. So how do we solve that problem? We've got internet access a mile and a half from his house. So I'm talking about that because I just kind of riff off on stuff. You guys know me. That's what I do. So some guy calls in and he's like, you're not a real libertarian. And I'm like, you know what? You're right, man. But guys, the issue is, how do we solve a problem that benefits our local community that's already been legislated? Because, guys, I would tear it right back down to the ground and start over, but that doesn't make sense, right? We need more cell towers. Yeah, we could do that. We could. I believe what my friend has already tried those hotspots, a cellular hotspot that provides internet data. But the upload speeds don't work, and you can't add another hotspot to it. So, because once you start adding hotspots, they start interfering with each other. And so would that solve the problem? Maybe. They're working on it, Shelly, but that's the thing. Now, Spectrum's like, well, those 18 customers, and guys, it's 18 customers that have committed to signing up. There's 35 or 40 houses in the area that may also commit, but 18 houses have committed, and Spectrum won't run the lines. My friend would run the lines himself. He would hang them on the pole. He would take them up through the woods. And so he would do that work just for the kids in his neighborhood and his own nephews. And he's got kids that himself that are they're getting older, and he wants them to have the same advantages that other kids have. So the issue, guys, was like, all right, there's benefits to living in rural America, and one of the problems of living in rural America is that you don't get internet access. And I was trying to explain to the guy while on the radio show, while trying to be my nicest possible person that I could ever be, how do we solve that, this current issue? And so we're working on it. But it was just really funny to actually be called you're not a real libertarian. And I'm like, well, I would reinvent the whole wheel, brother. Don't get me wrong. FCC, yeah. Do you complain to the FCC? That's one of those issues. I don't know. Spectrum's prices increase practically every month. They're brutal. Cable television first formed in Powder Hollow, New York. It's a hollow. They put antennas on top of a mountain range, coax. All right. See, that's what I was thinking. Maybe he could buy internet access the 1.5 miles from his house and just build it. The other, I got two solutions. One is he builds a little pod and stores a internet thing and runs wire up to his house from the closest location. I wonder if that could work. And then the other one that there's houses right there that do have internet access. And so within 1 mile of everybody's houses, then they wouldn't have to go to school. They just drop a shed, put in 6 computers, and all of a sudden you got this new style, old style, one-room schoolhouse where 6 kids can go and get internet access to access their teachers and stuff like that online, which I think would be kind of funny. And I think it would be an epic workaround. Yes, the longer and more loyal you are, the harder Spectrum takes advantage of you. It's a freaking crock. It is, man. Where is the FCC? I don't know. I think the FCC and the state of New York, everything they do is geared towards not making it easier. Like there's regulations that you got to fight. There's people that you got to pay off because these are big lucrative contracts. And if you get them the way that you want them, the politicians can get their coffers filled, the laws can get written, and the big company can keep making money. So my thought was, one of the other thoughts, and this is where the guy busted me really hard. I'm like, well, isn't cable almost like, isn't internet access becoming almost like a road, right? Isn't it an infrastructure issue? And even as a libertarian, we're steering a boat. We're on the Titanic. We're heading towards an iceberg. We're trying to steer it in a better direction. We're not. Some of us would just tear everything right to the ground and start over. I get it as a goal. I get it as an ideal. Okay. But there's real problems that have to be answered. So when we look at cable or internet access, we're almost talking about a new infrastructure issue. Shouldn't, in a way, the government be involved in direct provision of the infrastructure? And then people pay for the service and they pay for the maintenance of the infrastructure. Then wouldn't that allow for local management of the infrastructure? That's always something that I've always wondered about. Why are roads in New York $30,000 a mile and roads in Texas are $10,000 a mile? Why can't we fix that? This is where the FCC is not doing their job. Yeah. And so you explore new issues and you find new problems. And the upload speed of his stuff and the download speed. I think the download speed, because you have to download videos and you have to teach some of this stuff in real time, I think that's one of the bigger issues. And they don't get, with the hotspot wireless, they don't get enough download speed to do videos and stuff like that. So that's the issue. And there was something else I was going to talk about, and it keeps popping in my head and slipping out. You guys know that happens. And they are the worst, man. I've had a pothole in front of my house for years, man. I should just go buy a couple bags of stuff and fix it. But every morning I back into that pothole. I'm like, I hate the government. I hate the government. It just keeps me fired up. All right. The issue with cable, continue. How's your ankle, by the way? And I was talking about you. I hope you didn't miss it. I was mentioning you, and I was mentioning our belief systems and our fighting the battle against a better system for family court, brother. New innovation can only right. Gen 4 nuclear, Ryan Bedford. We're legislated for Gen 1 nuclear, and they won't change the laws. So we're never going to get Gen 4 nuclear unless you guys elect more libertarians or any libertarians, guys. All right. What other questions you got for me, guys? Let's work on that for a second. Hopefully the other idea will come in my brain that I wanted to talk about. Oh, am I a real libertarian? I don't know. I bet. Yeah, I bet. Guys, check this out. Gen 4 nuclear. Absolutely. You should go to that website, read about the realities of nuclear energy in the future that it could provide us. We could have local power generation. You can provide a town with all the power it needs, and even for the production that the town needs, with a refrigerator-sized nuclear reactor. It's fusion-based. It's interesting stuff. Yeah, Andrew, how about between Skinevus and Worcester, brother? That is the word. Those roads are so bad. Yeah, so listen, bud. I saw that operation. I hope you heal up, man. It's a big deal. So let's go with this. Internet signals are run from low orbiting satellites that used to belong to the ham radio. They gave them away. If we can get a license, and I have one, to operate a trans station, why can't we use it for things like this show? That, as much as I know about so many things, is something I don't know anything about. I do have a friend that's big into ham radio stuff as well. That actually sucks too. So yeah, I mean, I'm willing to explore all sorts of creative ideas. It's how do you put it together, and how do we move it in a privatized direction right from the start? That would be epic. If my buddy can download internet to his house and sell it to his neighbors, like, Wise, what do you think would happen if he did that? I'll tell you what would happen. The government would come and shut him down, take all his stuff. For $200 with no waste, because it's spent, and then you can't weaponize the waste, right? One of the problems with our current nuclear system is that you can actually weaponize the waste from a nuclear reactor, right? You can use it in bullets. You can use it in small thermonuclear devices. You can weaponize the waste, and that's a problem. I definitely will. I will ask him about it. He's pretty interesting. All right. So, guys, I pretty regularly talk about having conversations, and that's what we're doing here. I see too many people arguing, and guys, it's probably not us, right? We're trying to have conversations. I see we're working on it, because conversations can save the world, and I literally am not kidding when I say that. I literally believe it. It's important to have conversations. Like when someone comes at us and attacks us, so maybe it's even another libertarian. They want to say, you're not a real libertarian. You're not a real conservative. You're not this. You're not that. Just take a deep breath, man. They don't mean it. They're reacting, man. And they've been demanded. This reaction has been demanded by our omnipotent state and our media. And it's because they're desperate for money and they're narcissists. Yes, he was. Exactly. So, guys, it is. It's Friday, and I'm going to watch the Larry Sharpe show after this. So I'll be popping off some more, because I know one of the things I want to finish up with. I do make jokes sometimes that can be offensive, and I apologize. I kind of want to apologize for one. I made fun of the NRA, and in a way I should, and in a way I'm probably going to make some more fun of the NRA, and I'm going to point out something like that's more important. Okay, 2A NYS and the Otsego County 2A Sanctuary. Those are more important than the NRA. They're more important to participate in. And the reason why is because they have real impact. The NRA, you guys, we want Charlton Heston. We want pry my gun from my cold dead hand. What we got was Wayne LaPierre, a suave politician who knows how to raise money and knows how to negotiate away our gun rights slowly. So like Steve Filano, 2A, NYS, Garrett Dumaine, Otsego County Second Amendment Sanctuary. Guys, that is, if you can get involved in those versus giving money to the NRA, that is a better deal. Steve Filano's actually litigated red flag cases and won. So that goes to how does that work? All right. You actually, to litigate a case against red flag laws, you have to be charged with a red flag law. So we want it to go to the Supreme Court, and we want all those laws to be disbanded. And maybe the NRA, if they wanted to focus their resources on New York State, could do something like that. But that's not how it works. You have to win the cases. You have to fight the cases. And if they go higher, you keep appealing. And then if they go higher, eventually they make it to the Supreme Court. I can say that a law is unconstitutional. You can say that a law is unconstitutional. It's not unconstitutional until it goes through the whole court process. You have to have somebody that's been wronged. You can't just say, look, this law is unconstitutional. There has to be an action. There has to be a victim. And then there's got to be a battle fought over it. He'd be arrested. There we go. Yeah. No. Oh, I posted that one. Apparently, yeah, that's in my notes here too. And also the eagle attacking the drone, guys. That's epic. The bald eagle attacking the American. Yeah. The government response to COVID, guys, it's very frustrating. And there's been something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and we're getting up to the amount of time that I want to spend tonight. But I do want to go back to Osceo's 2A Sanctuary, Shenango County 2A Sanctuary, Schoharie County 2A Sanctuary, 2A NYS. Go to those, join those, add your comments, add your hands to the wheel, help them. Literally help. They're not bashful. They're not trying to buy politicians. They're ready to fight cases. They're ready to do work to make our lives better and to respect our Second Amendment, not negotiated away. Yeah, it's not. You're right. They are a lobbying agency. They are a profit-oriented situation or a revenue-oriented situation. Let's go back to what Andrew said. All right, the government response to COVID, canceling the 9/11 memorial lights because maybe people would gather around them. This is where our government fails us, all right? And it fails us all the time. They set up these false dualities. They say, go protest, but now here we are talking about a historical event. Let's not do that. Guys, that's a problem. That's why Juneteenth was so offensive, because they took 4th of July away from us and said, now Juneteenth is important. It's the government dividing us and the media encouraging it. And that's why, guys, we have to be ready to have conversations because and have them on that scale. Like, yeah, Juneteenth is important. It's a day we freed the slaves. Like, yeah, it's important. Why wasn't it a holiday before? Why didn't we celebrate it before this? So now, why would you take away the 4th of July? You could have just limited the size of the local celebrations and still had Juneteenth and been respectful of everyone. And that's where our government's failing. And they do it on purpose, man. I feel like it's on purpose. I will, on my Senate page, there's at least 5 other gun rights organizations that are better. But I'm starting with the local ones, okay? Otsego County 2A Sanctuary, 2A NYS. All of your local county sanctuary groups that are fighting for the Second Amendment, they are more important than the NRA, period. They are. We can't debate it. We can't argue about it. That's the fact. They'll come to your assistance, hopefully, because it's always challenging. How do you come to somebody's assistance if they get charged with red flag laws? Because red flag laws are used as a lever to get convictions on a real crime. So it's always, that's the problem. And that's literally what your sheriff will tell you. I'm not kidding. Cuomo controls everything in New York State, brother. He's an authoritarian. All of them. Hey, yes. Okay, I have to check that out. Spike Cohen actually typed up my name and my Senate page. And so, and I could pick up 3 or 4 followers off that. And I appreciate that. Spike Cohen, guys, at Libertarian Party, you should think about it. If you want to have a real impact, like, you can help us craft the concepts that we're going to be using for the next 20 years. All right, guys, I really, really appreciate you guys being here. It's Friday night. I've been on for about an hour and I've had a blast. And I see I've got enough likes. I got enough shares. Oh, real quick, I'm going to run my banner. This is, guys, it's on my Senate page. If you can find it and make a donation, that's fine. If you want a mask, send me your private message me your address. I will mail you a mask. Shelly, yours is going in the mail tomorrow. And thank you for everything that you do. For the information you provide and for the energy that you bring to this stuff. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. I'm not even kidding. Yes, Juneteenth. And why in the world would the government put them at odds? Why in the world would the media put them at odds? It's awful. And that's how they're managing us. That's how they're controlling us. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night. Don't forget to share this. I'll post it to my regular page in the morning because it seems like people actually watch it during the weekend. And the people that join, because it's more fun if you join. But thank you, guys, and watch it over the weekend. And if you got questions, if you got comments, you got concerns, you got suggestions, especially about that rural internet access stuff, if we can create something unique, I'm handsy. I'm smart. We can. It would be fun to try. Anyways, guys, thank you very much. The Larry Sharp Show, 7:00 usually. And as always, man, and I'll pop off more. I know I've been a little bit slack lately, and I love it. So thank you all. Have a good night. Take it easy.